Good evening, y'all. We're going to get going here in just 1 second. Just so you know, if you're trying to follow along on the YouTube link, it's in MLB Vault. We pinned it at the top of the comments. It's in MLB Vault, Braves Indians Game 6. So you can follow along with the video. And we're going to start at the 4-minute mark. Synced up here, I'm going to go ahead and get it going. The 4-minute mark of the video is just before first pitch. I have not seen this video, so I don't know how many commercial breaks and all that kind of stuff in it, so we'll play that by ear. But it should be done in about 2 minutes. And so I've got one of my videos, my backup video at the 4-minute mark right now, waiting for my main one to get to the 4-minute mark. And as soon as we do, we will get it going. Just a few seconds away. Once again, it's pinned at the top of the video. Game 6 of the World Series, 1995. Braves lead this game 3-2. And it'll be Kenny Lofton coming to the plate. Lefty-lefty matchup as Tom Glavine digs in. Number 47 spins and turns and fires a pitch down and in. Looks like he got called for a ball. It's 1-0. Now remember, back in this time period, you didn't have everything that you have today as far as constantly having as the 1-0 pitch is swung on and lifted high, deep into left center field, going back on the track. Making the catch just before the wall is David Justice for allowed out number 1. But you didn't have the balls and strikes on your screen. You didn't have the outs on your screen. And so it's going to be a little more difficult to keep up with, but that's all right. 1 down. And coming to the plate is Omar Vizquel. Should be in the Hall of Fame. The fact that he has not been put in the Hall of Fame yet is ridiculous. First pitch on the way from Tom Glavine is outside wide. It's 1-0. I heard the very beginning of this game where Bob Costas mentions that the home plate umpire is the 1-0. Called for a wide strike. We'll take it. It's 1-1. Bob Costas mentioned that the home plate umpire has one of the most deliberate calls in all of baseball, meaning he takes a while to give you the ball and strike call. 1-1 count. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string on that one. Looked like the Glavine change. It goes just off the edge. You think you've got it, and you get out in front of it. It's 1-2. Good to see Gary in the chat and Uncle Charlie. Good to see everybody. Like I said, this thing will be on until about 2 hours. Daniel Berry, good to see you. 1-2 count, 1 out. Lefty, righty, the pitch swung on, just got a piece of that, taps it back foul. We'll do it again. Braves nothing, Indians nothing. And here's the 1-2 from Glavine. Check swing. Did he go around? Looked like he did, and we do not get the call down the first base line. He looked like he offered it, that one. They're going to take another look at it overhead. And maybe he held up. Get a better view here on the side. He went pretty far around, but it did look like he was trying to hold up the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Got him. Fastball sinking down and away. And there's 2 down. So a fly out and a strikeout. And that'll bring Carlos Baerga to the plate. One of the best offenses in all of modern baseball that Tom Glavine was in charge of trying to shut down in this game. Baerga batted .311 in the regular season, .227 in the postseason. First pitch on the way, setting up off the plate wide. It's 1-0. 1-0. Of course, the Braves fans heavily booing David Justice before the game because of his comments in the paper during the off day. The pitch on the way is right there just below the knees. Looked like it might have hit the zone, but did not get the call. He got a big round of boos to start the game off. Pitch on the way, off the plate wide. Now he's going to call that a strike. Man, that is a wide strike. You forget how wide these strike zones were back in the day. They didn't have all the metrics that they are held to nowadays. I mean, you'd get some wide strike calls. The 2-1, swing, fouls it back. It's 2-2. Back in 1995, you didn't see a whole lot of shifts. You might see a slight shift here and there, but all in all, teams pretty much played everybody straight up. Gary, it was good to see Andrew finally get into the Hall of Fame. Tom Glavine looking in, the pitch, swing, chops it back to the mound. He's got it, underhands it, and the flip to the crime dog, and that'll end the inning. So the Indians go down 1-2-3. We'll be back in a flash. See how long this lasts. They will not take much of a break, so we go straight to the bottom of the first. Some of these videos, they'll eliminate all the commercials, and then some of them you'll have very small commercial breaks. We got Grissom, Lemke, Chipper, Fred McGriff, Justice, Klesko, and Javi Lopez behind the plate. And batting eighth is Rafael Belliard, Glavine batting ninth. And, of course, back in 1995, World Series rules, you had the pitcher hit in the National League parks. So Dennis Martinez of the Indians, he will have to hit as well. Of course, he spent quite a bit of time of his career in the National League, so he's not unfamiliar with that role. Only way that could have made it better, Gary, is if Dale Murphy would have gotten into the Hall of Fame. He did not. I see you asking the question now. Jeff Kent got in on the Veterans Committee, and that was it. We did a whole show on it. We must have been watching football or something, but he got 6 votes, and you need 12 to get in. He got 6 of the 12 votes of a panel of 16 people. So he had quite a bit of ways to go. They're going to wait around until he's just too damn old to be able to appreciate it. So it's going to be a shame. It's the only way that could have been better is if Andrew and Dale would have went in the same year, I probably would have had to find my way up there. Here's the first pitch on the way, and the right-hander for the Cleveland Indians misses outside wide. It's 1-0. Kicks and fires, swing, fouls it off. 1-1. Marquise Grissom leading it off, and remember the reason why he was an Atlanta Braves. So this is the year after the strike, and the Braves made a trade with the Expos before opening day to bring Grissom in, because the Expos knew they were about to lose a lot of fanfare because of the way the 94 season ended. So they broke up that team, and one of the pieces that they sent out of Montreal was Grissom. Pitch on the way, swing, bangs it over towards first. Line drive right at the Hall of Famer Eddie Murray. L3 in your scorecard. 1 down. Quickly back to work, and the pitch is a check swing and a miss to Mark Lemke, batting second. Batting .250 in the World Series, .211 in the postseason. He follows that up with the curveball in the dirt. It's 1-1. 1-1 count. Pitch on the way. Turns and fires. Outside, high and wide. One thing you miss about the glory days of baseball, most of these guys are wearing the stirrups. You don't see them as much anymore. The 2-1 for Martinez. Swing, chops it, and it's a slow roll up the third base line, but it'll roll foul. That'll even up the count. Of course, the starting pitcher, Dennis Martinez, played with the Montreal Expos till '93, went to the Indians in '94, so he wasn't a part of that sell-off, but he was predominantly known as a Montreal Expo. Spent 3 years with the Indians and finished up with the Mariners. I think a lot of people forget is the pitch on the way swung on. That ball's going to get sliced in between short and third, and it's going to be a one-out single for the Braves, trying to get things something going here in the first inning. Good piece of hitting there by Lemke. Just under the glove. Third baseman Jim Thome. That was back when Thome was out there trying to play third. He eventually goes to the DH after spending time at first. Chipper Jones, the batter, righty-lefty, switch-hitting Chipper Jones, Hall of Famer. Pitch on the way is outside wide. It's 1-0. You got a lot of Hall of Famers on the field right now. You've got Eddie Murray at first, Thome over at third. There's Chipper Jones. Tom Glavine pitching. 1-0. Outside wide, ball 2-2. 2-0 count. This offense was so loaded for the Indians. I mean, I think a lot of people forget Manny Ramirez. He ends up going to Boston, making his fame there with those great Red Sox teams. You also had Tony Pena behind the plate for the Indians. Pitch on the way to Chipper. Outside wide, good take. And Pena's going to go out there and have a quick talk with Dennis Martinez. He was nicknamed El Presidente, originally from Nicaragua. 70 years old nowadays. The pitch to Chipper. Outside wide. Oh, I'm sorry, they're doing a replay. I looked down at my notes and didn't realize that they were doing a replay. Here's the pitch, and taken all the way on the outer edge for a strike. Looked like it hit the zone. One thing you didn't have back then, you didn't have the little box that would be on the screen. And you also didn't, we forget how much the game has been revolutionized and has evolved with all the numbers you see on the screen nowadays, the miles per hour and everything. Presidente flips it over to first, and Lemke back in time. Of course, no pitch clock back then, and of course, no there were no rules as far as how many times you could go to first. I don't know about y'all, but when I would see Chipper Jones as the pitch on the way is outside, called for a strike, runner goes, and Lemke, he's safe, but they call him out. Wow, was that a bad call? There's no replay back then, but it looked like he got in there. I have to see a replay of that, but it looked like Tony Peña's throw was off the mark. And when the swipe came down around by Vizquel, it was a good swipe. Yeah, he's safe. He is safe. That was a bad call there. Pitch on the way from Chipper is slapped into left field, and he'll get a base hit, and he'll stand at first. So if the call is not blown there, the Braves are going to lead this game 1-0. They're showing the replay. You can see his foot go in, easily beating the tag. They slow it down, it becomes very obvious, but I just felt like to the blind eye that was... He's still over there motioning like, yeah, he was out. Nah, he wasn't out, pal. Crime Dog, Fred McGriff, comes to the plate. Swing, pops it up, back out of play. 1-1. Indians already have a couple of guys warming up in the bullpen, a righty and a lefty. So Mike Hargrove, the manager, he was doing very aggressive managing in this game. Pitch on the way outside wide to McGriff. Way outside wide. So Don Deckinger is the home plate umpire for this game. Wow. If y'all remember him. Pitch on the outer edge. Called for a strike. We're showing the replay of that pitch. I mean, that was well off the edge. We'll get into Don Deckinger here in a second. Pitch down and in. Misses. They're going to flip it back to first to keep Chipper close by. And the Chipper back then would go. He had some pretty good wheels back then. Deckinger was the famous umpire at first base in the 1985 World Series that called the Royals runner safe and he should have been out, and it changed the entire World Series. Royals came back to win that World Series. You got Joe West umpiring in this game, Larry McCoy, Tom Hallion, Jim Joyce, and Randy Marsh. Pitch to Fred McGriff was on the outer edge, well off the edge. Strike three, caught looking, and that'll end the inning. Definitely missed the strike zone, but he was calling some wide strikes there. It's one of those deals where McGriff's got to swing the bat. We'll go straight back to top of the second inning, and Albert Bell leads it off. He had the big home run against Glavine earlier in the series. And hit one against Greg Maddux. Righty-righty or lefty-righty matchup to start this off. Tom Glavine goes to work. First pitch off the edge. Well off the plate, it's 1-0. it was a part of the game back then, but you can't argue the fact that the game is better nowadays, being able to see where the strike zone is on the screen. Because I can remember growing up and watching games like this and just being irate that the guy's missing the call well off the plate, but no one really batted an eye back then because you just had to deal with what the umpire was giving you. And little did we know what this was building up to in 2 years as the pitch off the plate from Glavin is called for a ball outside the zone. Eddie Murray stands on deck, Manny Ramirez in the hole. But in a couple of years, we're going to get royally hosed in the National League playoffs against the Marlins because of a wide strike zone against us. And that pitch misses well off the plate. So Glavin just was not going to allow Albert Bell to beat him. And he draws a walk, and there's one on, nobody out. Go back to that first inning, Atlanta should have a 1-0 lead. I'm sure there was a lot of chirping in the dugout when Lemke came back. So Eddie Murray, Hall of Fame switch hitting first baseman, of course more known for his days in the Baltimore Orioles organization, takes the first pitch off the plate. Down and away, it's 1-0. Kicks and fires. Swing and a miss. Runner goes. Albert Bell, he's dead meat. Good throw down there. Down the line as Lemke applies the tag. Javi Lopez coming up, gunning him down. Bell was never really known as a great base runner. He did not get a good jump there. They just showed the replay. His jump was a little late. So even though that was the changeup from Glavin, they still had plenty of time to apply the tag. Pitch on the way off the plate. Murray taking it. Eddie Murray batted .287 lifetime with 3,200 hits. The pitch looked like it grabbed the bottom of the zone. Finished with 504 home runs and an RBI total of 1917. One of the great all-time switch-hitting batters in Major League history. He played for the Orioles from 77 to 88, so he was there for the 83 World Series title. Pitch on the way, right there. Bang! Right there at the knee. Strike three, caught looking, 2 down. Second strikeout of the night for Glavin. Nasty pitch. Murray had to have been looking for the outside changeup that he's been lulling people to sleep with, and he came in and caught him off guard inside. This will be the last of these that we do. We're heading to the Braves Fan Fest next week. I don't know if Pete is in here or not, but she was asking about if the Fan Fest was going to get canceled. I don't see any reason why it would. It's first pitch on the way from Glavin is right there on the outer edge, called for a strike. It's on line. Those storms that are coming through the Mid-South are supposed to be gone by Monday night. Pitch is inside tight. That'll even up the count. Lefty-righty matchup. Glavin looking in. And Manny takes it outside high and wide. Manny was starting to come into his own at this point in his career, but he really hadn't taken off yet. He hit that next level when he got to Boston. 0-0 your score. We're here in the top of the second inning. And Glavin delivers. Swing and a miss. Got that nasty drop on that sinking fastball. Manny batting .267 here in the World Series, .208 in the postseason. Of course, the only reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame is because of the steroid use. The 2-2. Swing just got a piece of it, knocks it back foul. He finished with the 69 WAR, 555 home runs, a .312 average, 1,500 runs scored, 1,800 RBI. But he's got the cloud of the steroids hanging over him. Pitch on the way, swing, just got a piece of that one, bangs it off the plate. We'll do it again. Yeah, I hope y'all stay out of harm's way, Gary, all y'all in the Mid-South. A little north of us, so we're going to dodge it. The folks that are really going to get hit hard are going to be up. I don't know if y'all have seen the accumulation that they're expecting up there in the Northeast. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike three, chase one off the plate, and that'll end the inning. Tom Glavin is locked in. A 1-2-3 inning for the Braves, and Justice will lead us off as we head to the bottom of the second inning. It's going to be a pretty bad storm in the Mid-South, but the Deep South is going to we're just barely going to miss it, but the Mid-South is going to get hit. And when you look up there in the Northeast, they were talking crazy, like over 20 inches of snow in the New England area coming off this storm. That is just insane. And they were still talking about 12 to 14 inches up around the New York area. Dave Justice, the batter, first pitch right there at the knees, called for a strike. Fastball. It's 0-1. Of course, he gets a round of boos as he comes to the plate. He was talking a lot of smack about the fans, saying that they don't come out and they're not vocal enough like other teams. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. At the time, the Braves fans were known for that. They were known for being very nonchalant. They were also known for not showing up until October. They had gotten kind of complacent, and that went on for a long time. With the pitch on the way to Justice's golf foul over the third base dugout, we'll do it again. If we don't win, they'll probably burn our houses down. He also said that. But the big thing that he was really getting on to him about was that they were coming out and he was comparing it to when they go to Cleveland, and the Cleveland fans, it was a raucous atmosphere. That pitch on the way gets scorched down the right field line, bangs into the bullpen area. And the Braves fans didn't want to hear it. He wasn't wrong. I remember we were famously having empty stadiums with winning teams all through that 14-year stretch until you got to October. When you got to October, everybody wanted a ticket, but you would see some pretty empty stadiums even when they went to Turner Field. That is no longer the case nowadays at Truist Park, which just tells you it was the right move to move it to Truist Park. As the pitch down and in misses. Try to get him to chase that curveball down there. But it's very obvious that they made the right choice putting Truist Park where they did, because nowadays the place is packed, and even on a Tuesday or Wednesday night you're getting 25,000 plus. Pitch on the way to Justice. They're going to check down the line. Joe West said he did not go around, and Justice will head on down to first. go-ahead run standing at first here in the bottom of the second inning. Good to see you, As Was. As Was, you said you might be going. I know Charlie's going to the Braves Fest. I saw As Was mention that he may be going. As the first pitch on the way is down and in. Ryan Klesko, he takes it. Good block there by Pena. I went to a game in this postseason, but it wasn't in Atlanta. We were watching the Reds-Braves series, the NLCS. The first pitch off of that went in the dirt to Klesko, misses outside. And it was in the middle of the week, and I remember the announcers mentioning there were 30,000 seats available for the following night in Cincinnati. As that pitch to Klesko misses high. 2 balls. And I was hanging out with my roommate and the girl I was dating at the time, and I said, so we're living right in the Nashville, Tennessee area. And so Cincinnati's just about as close as Atlanta was. And they mentioned 30,000 empty seats, and we knew that in Atlanta there was no chances. That pitch misses way outside, wide ball 4. And Klesko will head on down to first. Hargrove's going to go out there and talk to Dennis Martinez. But we were beside ourselves, like, how the hell is the NLCS in Cincinnati of all places, which is a baseball town? Why is nobody coming out and supporting them? So we said to hell with it. We got off work and out of school and everything and drove up there that next morning, and all the fans out there were basically telling us that the fans just did not like the stadium, and they had, a lot of it had to do with the fact that the Braves were expected to win that series, not giving the Reds much of a chance as the Indians have the bullpen working again, a righty and a lefty working up in the pen. But it still dumbfounded me that you were in the NLCS, you're down 1-0, you're at home, and you're not out there to support your team. And that was the game, if y'all remember, that game went to extra innings. And the Braves, it was John Smoltz on the mound that night. But the Braves ended up winning that game in extra innings 6-2. That's it. That's the only postseason game I've ever seen live. First pitch on the way to Javi Lopez is right there off the plate for a strike. It's 0-1. Righty-righty matchup. Pitch on the way inside, busts him inside. Jams him up a little bit. Good take by Javi. I remember Javi Lopez. I wish I had the box score in front of me, but I got too much things going. I remember Javi Lopez hitting a home run in that 10th inning. We were sitting in center field. There's a pitch on the way. That one going inside. So he's really trying to work Javi Lopez inside, not letting him to get his arms extended at all. Well, hopefully you get a chance to get out there, As Was. Pitch on the way for Martinez. Swing, pops it up. High. Very shallow left field. Drifting back, making the easy catch is Omar Vizquel. He'll flip it back into the infield. The runners will stay put. That'll bring Rafael Belliard to the plate, and Glavin is on deck. So in theory, you've got a base open. You could walk Belliard. He was a very low, light-hitting infielder, batting just 107 the postseason, 0 for 12 in the World Series. He was not there for his bat, that's for sure. First pitch on the way is outside wide. If you're thinking of nowadays, for those of y'all who may be a little too young to have seen this, he was basically Nick Allen. Didn't have quite the glove that Nick Allen has, but very, very similar to Nick Allen. Pitch on the way, grab the outer edge for a strike. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem, as was. Planning on meeting up for breakfast that morning, but if you can't make it, then we'll see you up there at the park. But here's the pitch on the way, banged up the middle, just past the outstretched glove of Martinez, and that's going to be a nifty play by Vizquel, a 6-4-3 inning-ending rally-killing double play. If Martinez actually stops that ball, the inning's going to continue, and you're going to clear the pitcher. But instead, it barely skimmed off the glove of Martinez, and Vizquel, with his all-time Gold Glove skills, had no problem with it. You look at that, 9 times out of 10, the ball goes off a pitcher's glove like that, touches it at all. It usually ricochets and causes a problem. You could have had the bases loaded with 1 out. So a couple of bad breaks here in the first couple innings for the Braves. If you're just joining us in the first inning, Lemke was called out on a stolen base and was definitely safe. Right after that, Chipper ends up getting a single to left field. So Atlanta should have had a 1-0 lead. And then if that play right there turns out any other way, you're at least clearing the pitcher, but you might have even found a way to score. Lefty-lefty matchup as Jim Thome comes to the plate. First pitch on the way. Right there for a strike on the outer edge. 0-1. He's batting .250 in the World Series. 0-1. Right there on the outer edge. It's 0-2. No 2 count. Way outside wide, tried to get Thome to chase that one to no avail. Braves won the first game of this series 3-2. Greg Maddux getting the win over Oral Hershiser. In game 2, the Braves win in Atlanta once again. 4-3 with Tom Glavine on the bump as that pitch is called for a strike. And Thome down looking. Man, is he skinny back then. Jim Thome ended up looking, they used to always call him Donkey. He always looked like a big donkey up there swinging that bat. Man, this is the early stages of his career. He slim cat back then. Braves won the second game 4-3. Glavine beating Martinez, so this is a rematch of these two going head-to-head. And then in game 3, that was the big one. That kept the Indians in the series. They went to extra innings, and the Indians win that game. Jose Mesa getting the win, Pena getting the loss. They win that game 7-3. At that point, Pena had turned into our setup man. Remember, he was the closer in the early part of the Braves run. And then game 4, Atlanta took a 3-1 lead. Steve Avery with the great job beating Ken Hill. The Braves won that one 5-2. Pitch on the way is a comebacker right to Glavine. He'll flip it over to the Crime Dog, and it's a 1-3 put out, 2 down. And then in game 5, Oral Hershiser bested Greg Maddux this time. Cleveland winning that one 5-4. This game was being played on a Saturday night. Remember it very well because I was in a sports bar in Tennessee, and we got there, me and my girlfriend at the time, we got there early enough to make sure one of the TVs would be on the Braves and one of the TVs, Florida State was playing Miami that night. And so we had both TVs back and forth, and I want to say Tennessee might have been playing somebody, so we were worried about getting to a sports bar and not being able to see the game. The 0-1 pitch, outside wide, good take by Martinez. Pitcher due up here. Swing, fouls it back. Just got a piece of that one. Uncle Charlie, I think it's, so I was looking at it. I will definitely have all the details ready for you on, we're doing next Thursday morning, we're going to be doing Braves Country Today like we always do. Is the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3, and that'll end the inning. We'll stay here with you because I seriously doubt they do a commercial. Doesn't look like there's many commercials, but I don't know how a low-scoring game lasted 2 hours with no commercial breaks. That's what it did. We were looking at it the other day, right next to my hotel, which is very close to Truist Park. There was, I know if all else fails, there's a Chick-fil-A, but I believe that there was like a breakfast buffet type place too, like I can't think of the name of it. We used to have one right around the corner here. One of those southern, not Shoney's, but basically like a Shoney's, the Golden Corral. I think there's a Golden Corral breakfast buffet, and I think it's really close. But I got to double check and make sure that it's open on the weekends. I don't imagine why it wouldn't be, but I haven't done all my homework on that. But the next show on Thursday morning, we're doing a Braves Country Today. We're not doing a football show because there's no game next week. And basically, that whole show, we're just going to talk about where we're going to meet up at and all that kind of stuff. But as of right now, I think it's Golden Corral. Pitch on the way to Glavine. Right down the outer edge, taken for a strike once again. Glavine was actually a pretty good hitting pitcher. Batted .222 in the 95 season with a home run. Here's the pitch. Called for a strike. That was a wide strike. That was a pitcher's at the plate strike right there. One thing Maddox and all of them were very good about is that pitch is swung on and chopped over to third. Should be an easy play by Tomey. Ooh, he throws that one in the dirt. Good scoop by Eddie Murray. That was almost a disaster. Glavine did have good speed. You start the inning off with an error, the top of the order coming up, you'd have some problems. A pretty good in-between hop there by Tomey. Throws it off his front foot, and it's just a bad throw. Almost handcuffed Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray was always known as a good glove at first, but he wasn't one of the all-time. I also want to find out what time that place opens, Charlie, because with the event starting at 10, I don't want to go somewhere that opens late at like 9 or something like that. So that's the other thing. Pitch on the way down and in. Misses for a ball. Marquise Grissom trying to work his way aboard. Well, the event starts at 10, so the idea would be to get there a couple hours before it begins. As that pitch is swung on and popped up over by the first base side. And easy F3, Eddie Murray underneath it, and there's 2 down. It is so funny to me when you look at the overall numbers of Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones. They're extremely comparable. And everybody talked about Beltran being a shoo-in, and Andrew Jones had to wait till his 9th year. And Andrew definitely had the better glove, and I do think that's what eventually got him into the Hall of Fame. Is that pitch right there misses, called for a wide strike high. It's 1-1. So Lemke trying to work his way aboard with 2 outs. Here's the pitch, down and in, misses. You were at game 2, as was, of the World Series. Is that what you're saying? That pitch swung on and missed by Lemke. Now with 2 strikes. Here's the pitch, swung on, chopped over towards second, and that's going to be a 4-3 putout, and that'll end the inning. So nothing doing there for the Braves, nothing, your score. We head to the top of the 4th in a fast-moving game. I'm very interested to see how in the world this takes as long as it does. Because if they end up doing some long montage or something, we'll skip through it. Kenny Lofton, of course, he would be an Atlanta Brave in a couple of seasons. Lefty-lefty matchup. Pitch on the way is just misses outside. High for a ball. It's 1-0. He was always one of my favorite players to watch before he ever got to the Braves. I know he didn't get along with some of the guys in the Braves clubhouse, but I always thought he was it when it came to center fielders in the 90s. There's a lot of talk about him possibly getting in the Hall of Fame on the Veterans Committee one day. It wouldn't shock me. There's a pitch on the way. Tried to pull a drag bunt, but missed completely. Called for a strike. Yeah, I think it was just little things, as was. I don't think it was anything. Like, when I look back at what was said at the time, it was really nitpicking. The pitch from Glavine swung on and chopped over towards first. On it quickly. Going to have to hurry because Lofton's busting it down the line. McGriff barely gets there. 1 down. 1 down, and that'll bring Vizquel to the plate. But it sounded like it was little things like he wanted to go in there and blast his music, and in the Braves clubhouse at that time, that just wasn't done. Everybody was very professional, very buttoned up, as they would call it the Braves way, and the Braves way was usually just a very professional atmosphere. And it was little things like that he didn't seem to gel with. And it's so weird when you get that kind of stuff, because I'd never heard that kind of thing coming out of any other locker room except when he was with Atlanta. But Atlanta had been together for so long that someone coming in and rocking the apple cart just didn't go over well. He's at 0-2, misses inside. Glavine doing a great job moving in and out of the strike zone, as he always, when he was on his game, that's what he did. So many pitchers go north and south, he was always east and west. There's one right there on the outside. That looked like an actual strike. He's gotten a lot of calls out there, but didn't get it there. Pitch on the way. Peppered it towards the dugout. Andrew Jones' biggest problem, why he took him so long to get in the Hall of Fame, because when he was with the Dodgers and he was with the Yankees, the two biggest markets with all the writers, he was not the Andrew Jones we saw now. And so people just didn't know. If you remember, when he went to the Dodgers, By the time he got to the Yankees, that pitch is a check swing, goes around, called strike 3. They were going to check down the line, but he's getting rung up at the plate by Deckinger. Vizquel doesn't like it, and they're getting into it. Vizquel finally got the clarification that he wanted. I'm sure Deckinger didn't want to throw him out. It definitely looked like he offered at it. If you remember, by the time he gets to the Dodgers, he ends up putting on a lot of LBs his time in LA, so he ends up not being a very good defensive center fielder. So they didn't see what we saw. But what we saw was, for 10 years, the best defensive center fielder that I've ever seen in my lifetime. If you tell me that someone was better before, I can't argue with you. But when Willie Mays says that he's the best defensive center fielder he ever saw, I have to take that as a pretty good endorsement when Willie Mays says that you're the best. So I don't think a lot of fans understood how good he was. Remember, towards the back half of him being with the Braves, TBS was no longer a national channel. They had started doing the thing where you could only get him in certain areas. And so he wasn't like Dale Murphy, where he was in your living room every day no matter where you lived. By the early 2000s, by 2000, 2001, those FCC laws had changed. Those all got changed in the very late 90s, and they started, I believe, in 2001 is when they actually kicked in, but they were passed in the 90s. Pitch on the way, swung on and popped up high, very shallow center field, and Marquise Grissom's underneath it, and another quick inning. And we'll go to the bottom of the 4th. Oh, you were there for games 2 and 3. Okay. So you were there for one game in Cleveland and one game in Atlanta and then one game in Cleveland. It's pretty cool that you got to see it in both cities. They're interviewing Jimmy Carter right now, ex-president. It's amazing he made it as long as he did. He looks old there. That was 30 years ago. Nothing, your score, as you can see on your screen. First pitch on the way is banged on the ground over towards second, and Baerga's on it. He'll get Chipper on a 4-3 put out. One away. Braves have gotten 2 hits so far. The Indians with none. As we're here in the 4th inning. And Fred McGriff takes the first pitch outside wide for a ball. It's 1-0. Turns and fires. Swing. Rips it over towards second. Baerga with another good play over there with the glove. He'll flip it to Eddie. 4-3 on the putout. Oh, you were there for games 1 and 2. Gotcha. So you were there for the 2 games in Cleveland. That makes sense because I knew you were. Were you living in the area at the time, I'm assuming? So 2 down, and that'll bring David Justice to the plate. Justice, check swing foul down the line. Yeah. No, I know, Charlie. I know that he was almost at 100. It's just amazing that He was always at the big Braves games. You didn't see him a lot during the regular season. That pitch there misses high and tight, trying to bust David Justice back. He's got kind of a smile. Remember his first time up, he was swinging the bat well. He smoked one down the right field line, but foul. Pitch on the way, swing, lifts it towards left center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Lofton turns, fires it to second, and the safe. David Justice barely gets there. I mean, you talk about a gutsy play and a hell of a throw by Kenny Lofton. Wow, was that a play? I don't remember these plays. I remember like 2 plays from this game. That was a hell of a... David Justice was flying out of the box. Lofton did a great job at cutting that off, turning, spinning, and firing a one-hopper to second base. And looking at the replay, I mean, he barely gets in there. I mean, barely. In today's game, they're going to replay that, and whether or not his foot came off the bag as he was sliding across, all that stuff would have been involved. And that's the one thing I don't like, as Klesko's going to get automatically walked here. And walking Ryan Klesko to get to Javi Lopez. That was his first extra base of the postseason, David Justice. And I'm sure I'm sitting there. This is what I think is probably going on in my head at that time. I'm probably sitting there watching this and saying to myself, oh, you're going to walk to get to Javi Lopez? We'll take it. Because Javi Lopez had hit that home run in the NLCS, the game that I went to. And he could do no wrong in my eyes. I'm sure I remember all of us talking about what Justice had said pre-game. I had some friends that were in there, and they were asking me, are you mad? I'm like, dude, if we win, I'm not mad at anybody. If we lose, I'm going to say that played a part. People are going to say what they're going to say, but what do you do on the field? You're showing a highlight, I guess, earlier in this World Series of Lopez hitting a home run. Here's the pitch to Javi. Busts him inside once again. That's what they did in that very first at bat. They just lived underneath his wrists, essentially. Just kept busting him inside. Once again, they've got Jim Poole and Eric Plunk, lefty-righty combo, warming up in the Cleveland Indians pen. Yeah, I know he was really close to Charlie. I don't remember off the top of my head. I know he was right there. That pitch breaks him inside. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember if they've even thrown him one pitch outside yet. Standing on deck is Belliard. So Martinez is probably sitting here thinking, in theory, I've got third base open because I'm not just going to give one to Lopez. Loading up the bases can cause all kinds of issues. Martinez looking in to Pena. Righty-righty matchup. 2 outs here. 2-0 count. Inside 3-0. Like I said, if I'm Martinez thinking along with this, I don't mind walking him because Belliard's next. Not only did Belliard hit .094 in the postseason, he batted an OPS of .188. Here's the check swing, bangs it foul. Javi's probably our best catcher, but I am partial to Travis d'Arnaud just because of the 2021. What he did in 2021 was phenomenal. Javi Lopez, all in all. 3-1 check swing, went around 3-2. So every single pitch has gone inside here on Javi, and he's offered at a couple of them. He should be standing at first right now with the ball. One thing I loved about Javi, he was the best that I ever saw defensively as a catcher. He would get that ball from the pitcher and fire it down to first and catch somebody napping, leaning off of first base. Martinez steps off the bump, sends the runners back. You got Justice standing at second. He's got good speed. And Klesko with average speed. At that point, he was playing outfield. He was playing left field for the Braves. But he wasn't looked upon as a speedy outfielder. He was definitely there for his stick. Martinez is sitting at 64 pitches. He's trying to get one more strike here on Lopez to retire the side. 2 on, 2 out. Deuces wild. We're here in the bottom of the fourth. 0-0 your score. Payoff pitch. And outside wide, ball 4. And he'll head on down to first. The bases are juiced. And we got ducks all over the pond. Haven't had a chance to do that in a while. Belliard coming to the plate. Charlie says he met Jimmy Carter on the campaign trail in '76. Farm Fest in Minnesota. What the heck was he doing? No, better question. What were you doing in Minnesota? So bases juiced. Here's the pitch to Belliard. Check swing, went around, chased one down and away. It's 0-1. Righty-righty matchup. I don't know about y'all, but I am ready for real games again. We've got, as soon as we come back from Fan Fest, the Caribbean Series. So I don't know if y'all have seen the games that we've put up already. As the pitch on the way, swung on, popped up, dying. Quail into center field, and Lofton's going to have enough time to get underneath it, and that'll end the inning. So the Braves load the bases, but nothing doing. We'll head to the top of the fifth. Bell, Murray, and Manny Ramirez will lead us off. See that anymore. They got the Goodyear blimp over the stadium. I don't remember the last time I saw the Goodyear blimp at a major sporting event. It's usually how you knew you were at something big. Remember college football games in the 80s and 90s. If the blimp wasn't at your event, you probably weren't the game of the week. First pitch on the way, swing and a hack swing by Bell. It's 0-1. Lefty-righty matchup. Tom Glavine, of course, pitching a gem. Pitch on the way, swing, rifles that one back foul. So I think this was before Albert Bell's infamous court bat incident. I got you, Charlie. Pitch on the way, outside wide, misses. Well off the plate. Glavine trying to get him to chase one. But we put all of the cards up that we know, and we may add some, but the ones we know we're going to do for the Caribbean Series, that pitch is down and in. Remember something about the Caribbean Series, this isn't just going to be like the games we were doing before with the LVBP. These are going to be major leaguers. They're going to be going up against each other. It should be a lot of fun. But we've got, I think the first game is Monday, February 2nd, because I come back on the 1st. So the 2nd, that Monday, is the first game of the Caribbean Series. The pitch, swing and a miss off the plate. And the first one that we are doing is the Dominican Republic versus Puerto Rico, and that's a 3 o'clock game on that Monday. And then that Tuesday night, it's Puerto Rico versus Mexico. The pitch is high and out of zone. Then that Wednesday, it's going to be another 3 o'clock game. Wednesday and Thursday are both 3 o'clock games. It's going to be Panama versus the Dominican and Panama versus Puerto Rico. And then on Friday, you got a doubleheader. On Saturday is the championship game. 3-2, chopper back to the mound. Nope, he's going to roll foul. Thought that was heading back to Glavin, but it spun to the right. Do it again. That's going to be a busy week right there leading up to the Super Bowl. The Caribbean Series, the championship is Saturday night on the 7th. Then you got Super Bowl Sunday. We are dropping our Super Bowl Sunday Salute to Super Bowl for everybody that morning. It's should be a pretty fun show. We're going to take great clips of Major League Baseball radio and television calls and have fun with those. As the pitch on the way to Bell is swung on and lifted, blasted down the right field line, but foul. Man, he got a hold of that one. He couldn't keep it straight. And then next thing you know, we're going to be heading into pitchers and catchers report on the 10th, which is 2 days after the Super Bowl. We'll probably do a show that morning, but maybe that afternoon, because I think I have to work that morning. But we're doing a spring training as the pitch down and into Bell misses ball 4. So after a long at bat there, Bell fights his way aboard to lead off here in the 5th. Braves nothing, Indians nothing. Game 6 of the World Series. Braves lead this series 3-2. They're trying to bring the first championship back to the city of Atlanta in any major sport. On Thursday, February 19th, we are doing a spring training preview show. And I've got a couple of guys that are going to jump on there with me. And we're going to talk about what to look for in spring training, all the different teams and whatnot, Braves and everybody else, position battles and what you might be looking for. As the pitch on the way, swung on and popped up. And that's a can of corn in front of home plate. Javi Lopez slings his mask and fires it away and makes the catch. F2 in your scorecard, and Eddie Murray is retired. Went away. Good to see you, Raymond. But then after we do the spring training preview on the 19th, which is a Thursday morning, 10 a.m. like we always do our Braves Country days. After that, the next day, spring training begins. And we know for a fact we're going to have Orioles and Yankees. And the plan is to bring you Cubs White Sox as a part of a doubleheader that day. We just don't know if they're carrying it. We saw that they're playing each other, so we went ahead and generated a card for it. You got Dansby Swanson, and if y'all missed the news, little Acuna, Ronald Acuna Jr.'s brother, he got traded to the White Sox. So he'll be playing in that game. We're hoping that they end up broadcasting it some form of fashion. That pitch misses outside line. Infield, double play depth. And they, like I said, they played pretty honestly. You'd get a slight shift to the left side, but it wasn't overpronounced like it is nowadays. They're going to flip it over to first to keep Bell close by as Manny Ramirez standing at the plate. Tomey standing on deck. I mean, how loaded is this lineup? Jim Tomey is batting 7th. That's just ridiculous. Glavine looking in. I don't know how we beat this team, to be honest with you. Pitch on the way. Swing. Chops it back foul. Do it one more time. The idea on that Friday, the Braves don't play that Friday. The idea is to bring you Orioles, Yankees for a couple hours, and we're going to flip over to White Sox, Cubs, because as opposed to giving you 3.5 hours of a long spring training game where there's a ton of substitutions, the idea is going to be to give you the first half of both games, because once you hit about the 6th, 7th inning, they start, as the pitch on the way is swung on and hit over towards short. Belliard's got it, fires it to second. That'll be a 6-4 putout. No chance of getting the trail runner and turning the double play. So Lemke will just hold on to it. But the idea in these spring training games is to do some double headers this year. And as opposed to hanging out for the last 3 innings where all the backups and all the also-rans are out there on the field, we're going to take you somewhere else and let you see the stars play. And then once they get to the point where they start making mass substitutions, we'll call it a day. We're sitting here in the top of the 5th inning, Raymond. It's 0-0. Game 6 of the 1995 World Series. Lefty-lefty matchup. Here's the pitch to Tomey. Swing and a miss. Challenged him that time. That was right down Main Street. Thankfully, Tomey was just a touch behind it. And he had a home run swing on that one. Glavine fires it over to first to keep Ramirez close by. Manny with pretty good speed back then. It was never a great base runner, but he had pretty good speed back in '95. Tomey at the plate. Pena on deck. Martinez in the hole. Pitch on the way. Called for a wide strike. Tomey doesn't like it, and that's 2 strikes now. As soon as we get a indication of the first game that's going to be televised, Brave Spring Training, we'll put that back up as well. We'll put that scorecard up. I mentioned this last time, but we played the Rays the first game, and Atlanta and Tampa Bay just don't tend to bring their television crew early on. That pitch is down and away, misses for a ball. But if they do broadcast on that Saturday, we'll bring it to you. If not, I'm expecting Monday or Tuesday of that wraparound week to be the first game that we can bring to you. We're going to flip it over to first. And Griff playing catch with Glavine out there. Lefty-lefty matchup. Glavine digging in. Here's the pitch. Outside wide. If you're just joining us and you want to sync us up to the video that we have pinned at the top. We just hit the, let's see, where's it at? 1 minute and 17-minute mark on the video. Glavine looking in. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Got him with the nasty sinker on the outer edge, and that'll end the inning. Braves continue to roll behind Glavine. Ted Turner and Fonda are standing at attention and clapping along, and Braves looking to get a run for Glavine. We'll be back in a flash. Glavine leads us off when we return. First pitch on the way. Right there for a strike off the edge. It's 0-1. Righty-lefty matchup. Martinez still back out there. Here's the pitch. Right there for a strike. It's 0-2. Thank you, Charlie. Caught looking, strike three. Glad didn't like it, but did look like it hit the zone. So coming to the plate will be Grissom. Atlanta Braves leadoff hitter. Batted .385 in the postseason with .1012 OPS. Him and Chipper Jones had really good postseasons in '95. And McGriff wasn't too shabby either. Here's the first pitch on the way. That ball is laced down the left field line, just foul. It's 0-1. And then once spring training gets rolling, the World Baseball Classic begins on the 5th of March. The USA's first game is on the 6th, which is a Friday night. That pitch is swung on and popped up, drifting back behind second base. Baerga's got it. 2 down. So Friday night, March 6th, will be USA versus Brazil in the WBC. And Saturday night, I don't think we've created the card for it yet, but Saturday night, they are also playing in the WBC. I think that's the one against Great Britain. We're going to bring you other games outside of that, but we're going to try to bring you as much as the USA as we can. Pitch for Martinez. To Mark Lemke is high and out of the zone. It's 1-0. Lemke 1 for 2 on the night. Pitch on the way, banged off the plate. 1-1. 1-1 count. We'll have more doubleheaders than we've had in the past. Typically somewhere between 2 and 3. It depends on the way the schedule lines up for the Braves, because we're still bringing all the Braves games. So pitch is outside wide. See, the Mets have been busy in the offseason these last couple of weeks. Before a couple of weeks ago, you could have made the argument that the Mets had the worst offseason in baseball, and now it's up there as one of the best. They've been really busy the last few nights. We got Freddie Peralta from the Brewers, which really helps fortify their. The one thing I'll say about Peralta is that pitch missed below the knees for a ball. And Pena Man, he's voicing his frustration with Deckinger. Behind the plate. He believes. It did look like that was probably a strike. Of course, we're going to have the pitch on the way, swing and a miss. Lemke couldn't time that one up out and over the plate. He is still chirping at somebody. It must be someone in the infield. It's either the infield or the outfield. He's telling someone to get back. And he is fired up about it. The pitch swung on, fouled back. He's looking off into the distance. So I'm thinking he's telling the outfield to play back. They might have started sneaking in because it's Lemke, and I guess he's basically saying don't get burned here. Because if he gets the ball over your head, you're going to be talking about extra bases in a tie game. The runs have not been easy to come by. Pitch on the way outside wide. Lemke will work his way aboard. So he'll head on down to first. And Chipper Jones will come to the plate. 2 outs and 1 on. Good to see you, B.A. So we get to the WBC. I know USA's playing that Friday night and Saturday night. We'll have those. And there are some weird times when we get closer to that. I'm going to start dropping them in there. I've got to see what games are being televised here in the States because there's no point in bringing it to you if I have to do something screwy because you're not going to be able to sync it along. Righty-lefty matchup. Chipper Jones digging in. The pitch swung on, dribbled over towards second. Going to have to hurry. Barehanded by Baerga, and everybody is safe. And we've got runners at first and second. Chipper Jones tumbled at the first base. Kind of tripped over first base and did a head-first dive. Good to see you, Pina. So first and second, 2 outs in a scoreless tie. And Hargrove's going to come out there. It looks like this is going to be the end for Dennis Martinez, who's actually pitched a pretty good game so far. But they've got Fred McGriff coming up, and I don't think he wants Martinez to see McGriff for a third time, so they're going to go ahead and bring in I believe that's Poole they're bringing in right now. See if they take any kind of it looks like they've edited all the commercials out of this one, so that's good. But once I see, because right now when you go on there, it just says, for broadcasting purposes for those games, it just says Fox Entertainment. So I don't know if that means we're going to get them all here in the States or not for WBC. But around that WBC, we're going to continue to bring you spring training games. Those would mainly be Braves games. We'll probably do some double headers if the USA's playing at night and the Braves are playing during the day. And the next thing you know, we're not too far from opening day. Of course, they pushed that back on us. It's now Friday, March 27th. But opening night in baseball is going to be that Wednesday. Giants, Yankees. We're going to bring you that game. And then on opening day, the traditional opening day for the rest of the league, we're bringing you a doubleheader, assuming weather. Red Sox and Reds is the 4 o'clock game. And then late that night in Seattle, we're going to bring you Cleveland versus Seattle. Fred McGriff digs in, 2 on, 2 out. The first pitch out is right there on the outer edge, called for a strike. It's 0-1. Poole's a nasty, crafty left-hander. Back in the day when you could bring a guy in just to face one batter. Carlos Justice stands on deck. Pitch on the way, swing and a miss. It's 0-2. At this point in the lineup, you've got 3 lefties back to back, not counting Chipper, the switch hitter. It was McGriff, Justice, and Klesko. It's a little odd that they didn't put Javi in between Klesko and Justice just to break that up, but that's how they did it. Pitch on the way, swing and a miss, strike 3. Nasty pitch by Poole, and that'll end the inning. Braves put a couple on. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Nothing here in Atlanta. Lefty-righty matchup to start this inning. At this point, Glavin's got a no-hitter going. Braves with 4 hits. But the scoreboard is tied at 0 where it counts. First pitch to lead off the 6th inning is outside wide. Tony Pena. It's 1-0. Just grabs the outer edge for a strike one. Stepping out of the box, and back then you could take your time like that. Pena stepped well out of the box, like he was getting dust or something out of his eyes. Nowadays, you got to be a lot quicker like that unless you bring the pitch on the way, swung on and lifted towards center field, and that is down for a base hit. It's going to break up the no-hitter, and Grissom misplays it, and the ball gets away. Luckily, David Justice is right behind him and backs him up. That could have been a disaster. You would have had a runner at second in scoring position, scoreless game. Grissom just kind of nonchalantly went up there to get the ball, and it died in the grass. It took a funny hop past his glove to the left, kind of kicked to the left against him. If Justice isn't back there backing that up, that's a play that I think we all forget about. If Justice isn't back there backing that up, Pena's at least standing on second. I think the biggest thing that I was surprised to be reminded about when in the last Hall of Fame is the pitch on the way is bunted foul. As Pena was on the move, Poole planning on leaving him in the game to face the left-handers to start the next inning. But Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran, both considered center fielders, they become just the 7th and 8th players in the history of Major League Baseball to go to the Hall of Fame as a center fielder. That's I mean, considering how long they've been playing this game, that's incredible. That pitch is bunted foul back out of play, well into the stands. Glavine came in with the hard stuff and smacked it back well out of play. So 2 strikes now on Poole. Pena at first. Poole trying to get him over in a scoring position. 0-0 your score. We're in the top of the 6th inning. You think of all those guys who played center field over the time as that pitch is bunted high. McGriff's going to go over there and make the catch on the fly. He could have let that fall because that would have been a strike 3 with the foul pop-up. Hargrove, the Cleveland Manager's beside himself. And you could tell by Poole he wasn't a very good bunter. He's just kind of modest engine. He kind of looks like today's batters trying to bunt. Back then, you had a lot of guys who had it down to an art form, but he was just trying to punch the ball, punch the bat at it. As opposed to catching it on top and making sure your bat stays on top of it, he was underneath it, punching it. Back to the top of the order, and Kenny Lofton, the batter. Flip it over to first to keep the runner close by. Lofton batting .217 in the World Series, but he was right at .300 at this at-bat for the postseason. Pitch on the way, come back into the mound. Glavin's got it, fires it to short. Belliard rifles it to first, and it is a... Did they call him out? They must have said that Lofton beat him out. Man, that was a close bang-bang play. So Lofton will keep the inning alive with his speed. Glavin, a good relay, and Belliard caught it perfectly. Yeah, it looked like Lofton just beat it out. If he's a right-handed batter, he doesn't get it. I saw some people, talking about that storm, I saw some people on social media basically telling people to calm down and say, this ain't a hurricane, man. It's just going to get cold for a couple of nights. So wherever the guy was, he was going to the stores, and I guess they were just, people were panicking and just emptying all the stores. I'm like, the biggest thing that's going to come from this could be power outage, and power outage hits. You ain't cooking anything anyways. Here's the pitch off the plate. Called for a strike. Deckinger with a wide strike zone in this game. You think about how many years they've been playing Major League Baseball, and they opened up the Hall of Fame in 1930. It was 1936, I believe. And only 8 guys are now in the Hall of Fame as a center fielder. Maybe they need to lower that bar a little bit, because center fielders for years were much more known for their glove, and some of your better glove men to ever play the game are not getting in the Hall of Fame because they're holding them to the same standards as the corner outfielders on offense. They've definitely done that to shortstop, because Omar Vizquel should be in. Runner goes, and they've got him picked off, but that is going to be a wide throw by McGriff to Belliard, and Lofton with such a big jump, it did not matter. I don't know if that throw gets there on the mark if he gets him. I mean, that Kenny Lofton was shot out of a cannon, and now you've got the go-ahead run sitting at second base. And anything that bloops down into the outfield, he's going to score with ease. Lefty-righty matchup. Glavin looking back, brings it. Swing, slices it foul into the crowd. Looked like standing room only at the time. Nobody sitting. That was one of those deals where Lofton was like, to hell with it, I'm going. I don't care if you throw it over here or not. By the time you react, it's going to be too late. The 0-2 from Glavin. Inside, misses 1-2. Vizquel trying to find a way to punch that ball to the outfield. Baerga stands on deck. That's what we call hurricane parties down here in Florida, Brian. Camping gear, steaks, cooking, liquor, beer, whatever you can get your hands on. Javi Lopez goes out to the mound now to talk to Tom Glavine. It's funny, a buddy of mine had texted me. It's mainly because he's a Cubs fan. So he's familiar with Bellinger, and he was saying how the Yankees overpaid for Bellinger. And I'm like, dude, that's not like what they paid Bellinger, like basically $32 million a year. 32.5, I think is what it breaks down to. That's nothing compared to what they paid Tucker out in LA. $60 million for a guy who's nowhere near. Aaron Judge is only getting 40. Here's the pitch. Bangs it foul. There's nothing that suggests Kyle Tucker's worth that. He's a good outfielder, but he's not worth that. Vizquel trying to fight off some Glavine pitches. Runner goes, pops it up high, foul territory. McGriff's over there, and he'll make the catch, and that'll end the inning. So Atlanta keeps him right there. Glavine keeps him at bay. 0-0 your score. We head to the bottom of the sixth. Interesting that Lofton went on that pitch. He must have had a really good jump because you don't want to get thrown out at third. Maybe he was trying to force the issue. Let's say Vizquel doesn't swing at that pitch and he throws it down to third. That ball ends up in the outfield. You never know. Here's the first pitch on the way to David Justice. Is off the plate for a wide strike. David does not like it. Can't blame him. It's 0-1. Justice at this point is batting .211 in the series, no home runs, 4 RBI for the postseason. The 0-1. Outside, wide, 1-0. Lefty-lefty matchup. Standing on deck is Klesko. Javi Lopez is in the hole. Braves nothing. Cleveland nothing. Pitch swing! That ball is jacked high and deep. Back on the track. Zip, boom, bam, it's gone. Ramalama ding dong. A solo shot. And your Atlanta Braves have taken a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the sixth. That ball got out in a hurry. The fastball about let her high. I think he was aiming for the outer part of the zone, and David Justice tomahawked it. And the Braves fans coming unglued. Chipper Jones hugging David Justice in the dugout. The first pitch there is a swing and a miss as we start the bat with Klesko. It's 0-1. Supposedly what was said during that time period was somewhere around the fourth inning, Glavine came back into the dugout as the pitch on the way is chopped over the mound. It's going to be an easy 4-3 putout. Klesko retired. 1-0 your score. And Glavine came in the dugout. I believe it was that jam that he got out of. I believe that was the fourth inning. Anyways, as the story goes, Glavine was ticked off but fired up after getting out of the jam. And he goes in the dugout and challenges everybody in the dugout and said, is anybody going to get me any damn runs tonight? I just need one. Just get me one damn run. They said he slammed his glove down and no one really responded. And they said that when David Justice, that pitch is a swing and a miss, it's 0-1. When David Justice hit that home run in the sixth, he came into the dugout and afterwards looked at Glavine. He said, will that work? And Glavine chirped back. He goes, that'll do just fine. That's all I need. 1-0 your score. Braves leading the Indians, trying to get their first World Series title in city history. First championship sports major league championship in any sport in the city of Atlanta. That pitch is hit hard on the ground over to Tomey. He'll fire it over to first, and it's a 5-3 put out. 2 down. I hope everybody stays warm during that. The first pitch down and into belly yard, misses. Yeah, the biggest thing is that a lot of people in the north don't understand why it cripples the south when you get a storm like this coming across the mid-south like it is. Most of the cities and towns are not equipped. They don't have the salt trucks and whatnot to fight the ice and whatnot, so you basically get grounded for a couple of days. Lefty, righty, the pitch on the way. Inside, misses. The pitch on the way to Belliard. Swung on and banged through the hole. That's going to get underneath the glove of Jim Tomey. And Belliard's on. Let's see if they call that an error. I believe they will. The ball was hit hard on the ground. He never actually touched it, but it looks like they called it an error as I'm looking at the box score. Belliard was never credited with the base hit in this game. But in theory, it could have went either way because he did not touch the ball, but Tomey would tell you he should have had that one. Lefty-lefty matchup is the pitch down and away to Tom Glavine. He's 0 for 2, the ground out and a strikeout. That starts off 0-1. I'd love to know what Justice is saying to the crime dog over there in the dugout, because his crime dog's got a big smile on his face. 1-0 your score. Bottom of the 6th. Here's the pitch. Swing. Chops it foul. Braves could have pinch hit here for Glavine, but he'd have to be a fool to take him out of the game. Here's the pitch from Poole. Bender down and in. Poole back to work the pitch. Fisted foul over the third base dugout. Braves 1, Cleveland 0. Bottom of the 6th. Game 6 of the 1995 World Series. Pitch on the way. Swing. Chops it down the first base line. This is the time where everybody's going to buy 17 cases of water and then not drink any of it. It'll just sit in your garage and rot. One, 2 count, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Inside, that'll even up the count 2-2. The 2-2. Outside wide ball 3-2. So a good job by Glavine working the count full. Runner will be on the go. They said the Braves were actually in the talks about the Freddie Peralta trade. It makes you think they might be trying to do something else. I do think they're going to bring in a starting pitcher, just whether it's on the free agent market or if they're going to try to do it via trade. That's the big question. Ken Hill warming up in the Indians bullpen, which he spent some time with St. Louis, you might remember him. The full count, swing, lifts it towards short, and a leaping grab by Omar Vizquel put that man in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a flash. The Braves lead it 1-0. We go to the 7th. One to nothing, top of the 7th. Braves 9 defensive outs for the World Series championship. Jim Thome standing at the plate. Here's the first pitch. Swung on, lifted, high and deep into center field, drifting back on the track, making the catch at the wall for a loud out number 1, Marquise Grissom. Right next to that 385 sign in left center field, 1 away. One down. Tony Pena, the batter. Lefty-righty, first pitch, outside wide. It's 1-0. I don't see him doing it here later in his career, but he was infamous at the beginning of his career. Tony Pena would sit down and expand that strike zone with his right leg out versus lefties and vice versa versus righties. Pitch on the way is in the dirt. Braves do have a lefty and a righty warming up in the bullpen. Glavine kicks and fires. Right there at the knees. P at the knees. Good strike pitch there. Not a lot he can do with that. It's 2-1. Tony Pena at the time was 3 for 15 lifetime versus Glavine as he steps out of the box. Glavine looking into Lopez. Here's the pitch. Swing. Bangs it towards the first base dugout. Do it again with 2 strikes. I didn't figure they would trade him to anybody in the division, but man, I'll tell you what, Rangers getting Mackenzie Gore from Washington, that is a big deal. Mackenzie Gore's extremely underrated. The 2-2. Swing, pops it up. High in the sky, shallow right field. Underneath it is David Justice, the man of the hour, 2 down. Braves now 7 defensive outs away from the World Championship. Never noticed this before. Sitting next to Ted Turner and Jane Fonda in a Michigan, I think that's a Michigan Wolverines hat, is Bob Murray. think that's him. It looks like him. Here's the pitch on the way, outside wide. It's 1-0. 1-0 count. I was rewatching the documentary the other night of Bill Veck's son. As the pitch on the way is banged on the ground over to McGriff. He underhands it to Glavin. That'll end the inning. Indians go down 1-2-3. We'll be back in a flash. I don't think they're going to let us squeeze this in, will they? Nah, I was going to try to play the take me out to the ball game, but I don't think they'll let me squeeze it in here. If they did, what the hell? We don't do anything in this inning.
All right, I can't see you. Let me hear you. All right, a 2, a 3. Me out to the ball game. Me out to the night. Find me something up Cracker Jack.
And we're back. Mark Wohler's warming up the pen. Tavares is on the mound for the Cleveland Indians. He played so long, I kind of forgot Julian Tavares started up with the Indians. He bounced around. He was in the league until 2009. Actually played with the Braves for a little bit in 2008. Like he had 38 appearances for the Braves out of the bullpen in 08. Those were some lean years as a Braves fan. Almost as lean as 2015, 2016 here. 1-0 your score. Glavin still looking dialed in, set to go back out there. And they did skip ahead. This is the bottom of the 8th they're showing now. So bottom of the 8th, 1-0. I thought they had to because I was trying to figure out how they were going to get all this in. Yeah, Tavares played for Cleveland until 96, and then he went to San Francisco, Colorado, Chicago, Florida, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Boston, Milwaukee, Atlanta, and finished with the Nationals in 09. Yes, Charlie, they did. 1-0 your score. As Wohlers will be coming in for the 9th inning here. Pitch on the way, down and away. Lopez taking some pitches. Braves lead at 1-0. Tom Glavine. They skipped ahead 1/2 inning, so he finished with 8 innings, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, and just 1 hit allowed. His ERA in the postseason 1.61. He'll go on to win the World Series MVP. We got a couple things at the end we're going to put on the screen. One of them at the very end is the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Sunday morning paper the very next morning. Here's the pitch on the way to Lopez. Swing and bangs it down the line. Foul. We'll do it again. Good to see you, Tree Nug. Pitch inside. 1-0 your score, bottom of the 8th. Nobody out. Braves lead it. Trying to work a board. Get some insurance runs. Lopez digging in. Here's the pitch from Tavares. Swing, lifted, high and deep, and I do remember that swing. Lopez put his arms up like he had hit it out and was celebrating, and the ball's going to die at the back of the warning track, caught by Albert Bell for a very loud out. And he dropped the bat and put his arms up like he was walking off. He thought he was Bobby Thompson. And he gets to first base and goes, oh, man. If we had lost that game, we'd still be talking about that. I'd forgotten all about that. Pitch on the way to Belliard is chopped off his instep. It's 0-1. When you see a player do that, you think they know, because usually you do. Righty-righty matchup. Belliard takes it down and in. Standing on deck to pinch it for Glavine is Polonia. Yes, that Luis Polonia. Pitch on the way is dragged foul in between home and third. That Luis Polonia played for quite a while. I barely remember him, but played for Oakland and the Yankees, which is where I really remember him from, is his American League days. Then he was with the California Angels from 1990 to 93. In 95, the Braves got him from the Yankees. The back half stretch. The pitch on the way, swing laced towards left field. Making the running catch is Albert Bell for out number 2. And he finished up. He actually came back to Atlanta at the tail end of 96. And then he finished up his career with Detroit and the Yankees. He was out of the league from 97 to 98, so he must have been down in the minor leagues. Hargrove going out there to talk to Tavares. I think this is Paul Ossenbach. That's what it looks like. Julian Tavares heads to the showers. Yeah, it is Ossenbacher. Paul Ossenbacher, left-handed reliever coming out of the pen. And for those of y'all who remember, did a game earlier this offseason. He was on the Braves in the 80s, played with Atlanta all the way to 1989. The Braves traded him away at the deadline to the Cubs. So he went on to win the NL pennant with the Cubs. Or excuse me, got to the NLCS with the Cubs and got beat by the Giants. And that was the famous World Series with the Giants and the A's, the Earthquake Series. Went on to pitch for the Cubs until 1992. Into the 93 season, was traded to the Yankees, and he came to Cleveland in 95 and stayed there to 99. A career ERA of 3.53. Lefty-lefty matchup. Drag bunt showed by Polonia. Luis Polonia was batting .333 in the postseason and .308 in the World Series. Pitch on the way, swing and a miss. Lefty-lefty matchup. Here's the pitch. Check swing. Pops it up towards the third base dugout. We'll do it again. Good to see you, Ladarius. I think we already got into Tree Nug. Let's see if I missed anybody else. I don't think I saw James Fisher. Good to see you, James. We're here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Braves lead at 1-0. Here's the pitch. Inside. Almost gets him in the noggin. Polonia. That'll wake you up. Austin Marker, not a hard thrower, but he dusted back like that up around the ears. It'll get your attention. Doesn't look like it was intentional because Pena was set up way outside. Polonia's not really a batter you're trying to bust. Last thing you're trying to do is put him on his speed. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike three, and that'll end the inning. We go to the the top of the 9th inning. Braves lead it 1-0. Quick reminder for everybody, our next broadcast, ball games, we're doing live games in just a couple of weeks. Monday, February 2nd. It's a 3 o'clock start. We're going to be doing games all that week. Caribbean Series Baseball, that's going to be right after Braves Fest. Should be a lot of fun. Of course, we're doing the show Thursday morning, this coming Thursday morning, to go over Braves Fest. First pitch from Wohlers to Kenny Lofton. He's upstairs, high heat. Taken for a strike, it's 0-1. Man, Deckinger really had a lazy way of calling balls and strikes. He just kind of randomly flipped his arm out. No emphatic motions at all. The 0-1. Inside. Lofton spins around. It's 1-0. 1-1 count. One to nothing your score. Lofton representing the tying run. Here's the pitch. Inside, almost gets him in the foot. Goes to the backstop, 2-1. Honestly, if you're Lofton there, you got to not get out of the way of that pitch and find your way aboard. Atlanta Braves looking for their first world championship since coming to Atlanta in 1966. Here's the pitch. Swing, pops it up. Down the third base line. Running and making a great on-the-run catch backhanded over his shoulder. Rafael Belliard, one away. Wow. Kind of have to circle that play as well because he doesn't make that catch. You never know if Lofton finds his way on, but back that up a pitch. Lofton doesn't get out of the way of that pitch near his foot. He's standing at first base with his speed and nobody out. You never know how this World Series would have ended up. One down. And they were really trying to put the kibosh on old Belliard, flashing up on the screen saying that he only had one error in each of the last 3 seasons. Just, anytime you do that, you normally have the guy kicking the ball out to the outfield. Wohlers now set to face Paul Sorrento, who's going to pinch hit for Vizquel. Baerga's on deck. Here's the first pitch from Mark Wohlers. Up top, misses high. It's 1-0. One to nothing your score. Cleveland with just one hit so far. Braves, a solo shot by David Justice, 6 hits on the night. Righty-lefty matchup. Here's the pitch from Wohlers. Turns and burns it. Swing! Slices it back foul. We'll do it again. Baerga on deck. Albert Bell in the hole. Real live baseball games return to us February 2nd. Then you got the World Baseball Classic Spring Training, and then it's off to opening day. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 2 strikes. So a 1-2 count now with 1 out. Here's the windup in the pitch from Wohlers. Swing lifts it into center field. Drifting back just before the warning track, making the catch for out number 2, and the Braves are 1 out away from the World Championship. Yeah, that is Bill Murray standing next to Ted Turner. That is him. If it's not, then it's his doppelganger. David Justice, who had been booed by the crowd because he had gotten onto them for not coming out to the games and rooting them on, he becomes the hero, along with Glavine, for Game 6. And Mark Wohlers, the 30th season of the Atlanta Braves, is trying to bring home the first championship, which they had won World Series in Boston, and they'd won several world titles. Oh, in Boston and one in Milwaukee. First pitch on the way to Baerga. Swung on and lifted deep into left center field. Coming over, circling around, making the catch is Marquise Grissom. And Braves win. Braves win. Your Atlanta Braves win. Dog pile on the mound. Atlanta Braves bring home their first world championship. In Atlanta sports history, Tom Glavine will win the World Series MVP. And if you're wanting to see that is what it looked like on the Atlanta Sports Constitution that next morning. Braves win it 1-0. The champagne pops, and I don't know about y'all, but that night I don't think I slept a wink. We would go another almost 30 years to our next championship in 2021. We'll go ahead and get out of your hair. Have a great night, y'all. Dave Justice, the hero. Tom Glavine, the MVP. We will see you again for February 2nd on the Caribbean Series. We'll bring that to you the entire week, and then it'll be off to spring training, the World Baseball Classic. Thursday morning, Braves Country Today, we'll go over Braves Fest and what we've learned about it so far. I'm as interested as anybody else. I've never been to one. Should be a lot of fun. Y'all have a great one, y'all. Good night.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's closing time, y'all. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Have a great one. On your way out, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to tip your favorite bartender. We'll see you. I'm Mac McGee, signing off for Braves Country Radio.